Alice has planned a pretty over-the-top, beautiful, decadent wedding. It's kind of along the lines of, I guess, Midsummer's Night Dream. And yeah, she kind of has everything planned out to a T, down to what everyone's going to wear and what Bella's going to wear on her honeymoon. She kind of has everything taken care of. Alice is, from the 1920s, and so I kind of thought it would be really fun to have that kind of inspire her look. So, so Michael, who's head of wardrobe, kind of had a seamstress come in, and we created this kind of 1920-ish dress, and we're kind of coordinating the hair and makeup with it, and then the rest of the outfits are not so 1920s inspired, but they work well together, but they're all very specific and unique to each character. The wedding goes pretty wonderful, and they leave for their honeymoon, and because Alice can see the future, she kind of sees that something isn't right and something kind of bad is going to happen, so she calls to talk to Edward or to talk to Bella, and finds out that in fact she is pregnant with a half-vampire child, which is, I think, very confusing to all of us because we didn't even know it was possible. So Bella and Edward are kind of forced to cut their honeymoon short, and they have to rush home, and we kind of have to figure out, what to do and what this half-baby, half-vampire wants, and if it's going to be complete evil or be this wonderful being, and so kind of turns from, I think, a fairy tale to chaos. The last film, we kind of finally came and formed this alliance, and everything was very civil, and then this baby comes along and kind of, I think, disrupts everything once again, because Bella wants to keep this child, we want to keep her alive, and we want to try and, enable Edward and Bella to have their child, and the wolf pack sees it as a huge threat because, it's going to be a vampire baby, and it's unpredictable, and they think that it's going to be a huge threat to the treaty, and it's not going to be able to follow it because it's not going to know any better. Working with Bill has been so great. I can honestly say he's one of the most, I think, patient, kind, really talented directors, and he's super collaborative, and I think he's so talented as a director, and it's just been very humbling, I think, and really fun to be able to work with him, and I can say hands down that I would love to do another film with him, 10 other films with him.
In breaking down part one, we really show this kind of alliance between the Wolfpack and between the Cullens, because the Cullens are trying to keep this baby alive, whether they feel positive about it or not, and the Wolfpack is split up as well as to whether they should take out the Cullens, including the baby, because it's a breach of contract for a vampire to impregnate a human or to even change a human. So it becomes this whole debacle, and they have to get along and fight side by side and fight against each other. So it's a really interesting piece, and I'm really excited to get into the more visceral elements of the filming process, having to fight off the wolves. I think it's going to be pretty fun. The Cullens go through a long period where the wolves have sanctioned them off in their own home, and the Cullens aren't able to go out and feed, which makes being around Bella even more just painful. And so they're trying to look out for her, but all they can think of is getting their next meal, and they're starving to death, and the wolves are out there, and their powers and their strength is slowly diminishing, and the wolves are out there just being stronger. Every day that goes by, the Cullens get weaker. So it's a tough spot for the Cullens to be in. The guy's got a track list that is pretty phenomenal, and so to have him joining our ever-growing roster of directors for the Twilight franchise is it's a great way to kind of put a close on the series. It's been a privilege and an honor working with Bill, and he's a wonderful guy, really sweet, relaxed, and that energy really kind of permeates the set. Oh, it's been great having Stephanie on set every day. She's really stepped up here in breaking down parts 1 and 2 as producer, and we've seen her beautiful face on set everywhere we go. She goes, and I think it's wonderful because it's hard to take a story from a book and to portray it accurately on a film, and to have the author there helping guide the process really helps, not only the actors, but I'm sure the directors and producers as well.
Bella and Edward get married, and Bella gets pregnant. Oh boy. And I sort of step in and take care of the situation, and I guess I actually do become Bella's caretaker, because it's a really sort of like excruciatingly painful pregnancy, because this thing inside of her is growing rapidly and no one knows what it is, and so there's like, you know, that element of suspense. I truly believe that Rosalie's priority is this baby, and so yes, she's definitely developed a relationship and a bond with Bella, and Bella has a special place in her mind now because she's sort of like the incubator for this like, you know, magical thing, but her priority is this baby, and so I think that Rosalie is doing any and everything she possibly can to make sure that Bella stays alive, and in that sense, her and Bella are on the same, you know, wavelength, because that's all Bella wants too, is for this baby to survive, and she's willing to kill herself as well for it. He has the answer to every question. He's more prepared than anyone I've ever worked with. The attitude that he has and the energy that that he exudes it drives our set. Jacob obviously cares for Bella, and so he's not going to let anything happen to Bella. And at this point in time, I think he is like very angry and resentful of the whole pregnancy, and I think he's even more angry at Edward actually. But he's not going to let anyone harm Bella, and so he ends up, you know, sort of like guarding our home.
Emmett loves it. Alice is kind of the one who's super excited because she loves throwing parties. Emmett, my character, does all the heavy lifting, and he's just really excited for Bella to become one of the vampires, and obviously the wedding's a fun place. He enjoys them. So they find out that she is pregnant, which we didn't know we could do that. So that's just kind of a big problem, and the thing inside of her is growing increasingly larger and faster, and we are really unsure what it is because we've never heard of it. So it causes a lot of red flags to come up. I really enjoy when someone who creates something still loves it and still wants to be a part of it. I don't feel like it's something that she has to do, Stephanie. Like she has to be here, but she wants to be here. And that really shows an artist's and a creator's passion for their project. So it's really nice to have her here. He's the nicest guy. And you know, I'm very fortunate to work with him. I watch, as I've been working with all these directors, I kind of watch how, because I'd like to direct one day, I kind of watch what they do, and Bill's very talented. And he's always happy. He always knows what he wants, and he's very personable. He can work with the actors, and I think that's really important, especially in a long movie like this with so many actors. He's thought everything out.
Bella gets pregnant. We have no idea what this creature is or what's inside of her. None of the machinery that I'm using as a doctor can actually read inside the embryonic sac. So this could be some kind of demon child. This could be, you know, a vampire. It could be human. We have no idea. So we're flying blind, and it becomes a tug of war between Edward and Bella. I mean, Bella wants to keep the baby. Edward wants to get rid of this because he doesn't know what it is, and it could potentially kill her. Carlisle is, you know, a doctor, and he wants what's best for his patient. So, you know, if there's harm coming towards Bella with this baby, then my character wants to dispose of it and get rid of this child. But, you know, he has no control over that. When I got the scripts to these movies, they were, you know, 250 pages, like 2 scripts. It was heavy, you know? And I looked at it and I was like, whoa, this is pretty daunting, to think that we're going to be shooting all this. And I sat down with Bill and we had a discussion about Carlisle and, you know, Carlisle's journey and where he is in this movie. I said, Bill, you have a huge road, ahead of you, and good luck, because it's not going to be easy, but it'll be very satisfying. But we're going to be there in the trenches with you, and I have to give him credit. He's our general. He's our commander in this battle of getting this movie done. It's a beast to slay, and he's there every day. Gung ho, 6 o'clock in the morning till we wrap.
Breaking Dawn Part 1 begins with an invitation to a wedding. At this point, Edward and Bella have gotten engaged, and I'm planning a wedding with Alice, which I'm very excited about, and we've had many meetings and ideas about this going back from Lena for years now. We're super excited, and it's a magical, amazing event, and it's really the first time I've gotten to be a part of planning a huge wedding, so I'm very excited. They consummate the marriage, and she gets pregnant. Bella Cullen becomes pregnant, which we didn't even think was possible. I had never heard of any vampire getting a human pregnant. It's just unheard of. And basically the baby is growing, the fetus is growing at an extraordinarily fast rate, and we have to get her back to Forks to deal with this. I'm very excited to be a grandmother. I think I'm very hopeful about this baby and about the whole situation, whereas there are certain people in our family who are not supportive of this baby and of Bella's choice to keep the baby, when really I believe it's her choice, and that's why I'm so supportive of her, regardless of the fact that I'm very excited about having a grandchild. The relationship that we have with the wolves is already a very strained relationship. Not for me personally. I love them. I think they're all great. But it's just an age-old strained relationship. Now, everything changes when Bella gets pregnant. And basically Jacob breaks off with his pack and ends these lifelong relationships, and it's a hugely courageous and honorable and humbling thing that he does. I mean, it's really amazing. And so we've banded together, and he's very protective of Bella, obviously, as he always was. And, so he's sort of living in our house a lot. And it's fun. I mean, it's fun for me because I get to feed someone, which I love, because no one in my family will eat food. And so it's been a real pleasure having him around. The birth is terrifying. And I think we all knew that it was going to be a really scary... I've been very hopeful about this situation from the beginning, but it's terrifying. And we don't know, after the baby's born, we don't know if Bella's going to live or die.
She is heartbroken, and she is very angry, and she's kind of she's just tortured by being around boys all the time. Taylor is super professional, and he's really fun, and he's very, very smart, and I really like working with him because you get all of those things. It's just fun, and you enjoy doing good work when you're working with him. Because she still hates the Cullens, I think she still sees them as the cause for her whole world being turned upside down.
Seth really looks up to Jacob. Like, he's his idol. He wants to be like him, wants to do everything Jacob does, and he just really looks up to this guy, and wherever Jacob goes, he wants to go and do what he's doing. I've had some crazy fan encounters, but most of the fans are really awesome. Pretty much they all are really awesome. It's funny, everyone always thinks of Twilight fans as being, like, totally insane and stuff, but most of them are actually really cool.